Hey guys, thanks for dropping in with us. We are doing a nightly research and development. We've been live streaming a lot, so we're going to do a shorter version tonight. And I wanted to talk to my subscribers. We have topics, and we've got some actually really cool stuff because we've got new features that we can use during our show so that we can see new, cooler stuff. There's just so much going on. I've got videos. I want to talk to my subscribers. I've been making videos the last couple days, but I've been doing live streams on other channels because I have to do these things to make my channel grow. And honestly, we've been growing very substantially. So it's been worth it is what I'm saying. Now, I don't want to ignore my subs, and I've got a lot of messages. You guys want more videos. I've got videos. I've actually got some done that we'll be uploading on a schedule because that's what YouTube asks us to do. I can't upload 3 videos at once. It defeats the YouTube purpose. But I'm gonna upload them a little sooner than what YouTube will let me or tell me to do. So that's a good thing. You know, I listen to them. I listen to you. You guys want them sooner. You said you did. They're going to come sooner regardless of what the guidelines, or not guidelines, suggestions, I should say, are. Also, I wanted to make sure that I thank a lot of you, like Homer. He's my dude. He's a member of the team. I want to get him on live stream sometime because dude knows a lot of stuff. Lots of stuff he's sending me. Rusty, you live by me, dude, but you send me lots of stuff too. Also, we've got, I mean, the list goes on. I've got a lot of people that send me stuff, and I give you my word. I'm going to bring your name up when we use your material, maybe not in the live stream because of time constraints, but in about sections, things like that in a future video. Also, we do have some business we have to attend to. I have a Patreon page. I just don't push my Patreon page. I give people the option. If you go to my About section, it's there. So Keith Schwartzman, thank you. You're my dude, man. And Albert, I really appreciate you guys. It's you guys supporting me through Patreon that gives me the ability to do these videos like I do, because I use expensive programs, cameras, servers, computers, phones, tablets, the whole works. Really high internet connections, website costs every month. And it does take away from my family. Thank you for donating. It means the world to me. So let's go into, I got the housekeeping out of the way. I'm glad we did because we've got great topics to bring to you guys today. It's going to generate a really good discussion. We're back to our normal show. So I want to introduce two people you already know. You know these guys. They got good opinions and good topics. First up, though, Jerry had to take a night off. So what's up, Dark Wolf? Here you are, buddy.
Hey, Uni. Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be here tonight. Appreciate you joining us on the Rockinati. We always like to sit out and have fun. Last night, my voice was just really, really rough. Somebody said I actually sounded a little bit like Alex Jones. It was just real raspy. So I didn't want to put you guys through that kind of, I didn't want to put you guys through that kind of torture last night. So I took a night off, had to recoup and come back and have a good time. So we're going to enjoy a lot of dense finds tonight, hopefully, and see what we can come up with. Right, guys?
That's right, Dark Wolf. Thank you, Dark Wolf Jones. I appreciate it. And I got Bitter with me. He was with me yesterday. He's been streaming with me, helping me out with this stuff. He's got good opinions. He's got, just like Dark Wolf over at Darkwolf'S Den, who he's going to be uploading this video. Bitter will too, if he wants to. He's got that option. I'm going to probably leave it up for a little while, and then just because I am doing this to talk to my subscribers. That's one thing I had to do in a live stream. So I apologize, but typically you're going to find these videos on the channels of the people who we talk to. Bitter, how's it going, man?
It's going great, man. You know, I'm ready.
What have you been doing? Anything new on your channel?
Not much. I've been reviewing footage of the moon, and it's very time consuming and very boring, putting me to sleep. So that's really all I do is stare at the moon all day.
Well, that's why we need you, man, because that's a big thing. Even before I had you on, we were talking about the moon all the time. So I'm glad we have You always say I'm not an astronomer. You're an astronomer in my opinion. So hey, if you're on the team and you're an astronomer to us,
amateur astronomer.
We'll
there
use
you
that.
go.
I'm an amateur YouTuber then, because
I'm learning with everybody else. Okay,
Yeah.
so all the questions you guys have, I have the same ones, and we'll try and figure them out together. So
that's right. And actually, he showed me some video, and it blew my mind. And I don't say things on the channel just to get you guys. Oh, hey, I'm gonna go look. I really mean it. Because you're going to say, Uni's just saying that. Well, if you don't believe me, go click on his pink moon video, because it will blow your mind. Not even that long into it, there's an arrow. I'm not going to tell you what's there. You got to look for yourself. I can't figure it out, and I've been trying. I go back to it like 3 times a day because it really racks my brain. Honestly, well, I'm bringing up my Facebook page because Klingon, I'll get you back on soon, I promise. I had to take a break from live streaming for most of the day. It was wearing me out, and we're doing a short thing tonight, but the next live stream you're scheduled for if you have time. So we have a Facebook page. You can find it in the About section, and go check me out. It's just my regular page I've used for years, but I got a lot of friends there that I make videos for them to see too, so I didn't want to change it. We do, though, have a... Unirock Facebook page. So yeah, hit it up, man. Go take a look at that. We've got some crazy stuff, not to mention our Twitter at Unirock TV, same thing as YouTube, just no dot. Now we got some cool stuff here. I do have to bring up what's been going on. We've had a really big channel. Third phase of Moon came on with me and Jerry and surprised us. We were like so thankful because it's cool when the big guys come hang out with the new guys. We're the new tube. They've been doing this for a long time. We could learn a lot from them, and when it comes to the production side of the tube. Well, honestly, they asked us, or they suggested, I would say, it was just a suggestion for us to do a couple things. So we thought we had found what they suggested, and we used it on the show the other night, but it wasn't the right thing. I think I found it this time. We all were looking at this before. We do have our random features on our channel, and I'm like introing into the regular stuff here, so I'm going to stop doing that. Yeah, so what do you guys think about this new Google Earth thing? Jerry, go ahead, and Bitter, let me know too after he's done. What do you think about this, Jerry? You've seen this.
Well, this is actually a really, really neat tool I've seen so far. They've got a lot better graphics on it, and it's really interesting because it reminds me that some of the graphics that hopefully we'll see later on as we get closer and closer to some of these areas, some of the graphics are like really, really like you're looking at the city from above, for instance, or like you're really right there where you're at. I think they've really done a good job with this tool, and hopefully, as the conspiracy theorists that we are, we can find some little places where they've failed to get it all correct so far.
I'm looking too. Bitter, what do you think about this? Doesn't it look really real?
It looks amazing. If you'll pull up a city for me real quick, I think that's going to blow people's minds. And it really puts into perspective, the theory that we live in a simulation. Because if you look at what they have done with this program, I mean, it is just a stone's throw from being, a simulation. I mean, a stone's throw away from
almost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, I could imagine playing Grand Theft on that.
Oh, and this,
Man,
because this
great.
is a real world. Now look, they've already drawn it out. Yeah, they've drawn out the entire freaking world. We've gone through this on our own time. This is the new Google Earth. So I know it sounds crazy. Just type in the new Google Earth in Google. That's what I did, and it came up. We're experiencing some lag issues. It will catch up. I swear it will. Come on, guys. It might be this program. It's probably really high of bandwidth usage.
It's high
so we're going to actually mess with some settings in our channel so we can use this a lot better. But if I am not cutting out too bad, look at this, guys. You have Google Earth, which Google Earth has the same type of interface, but I think the buildings and the landscape are much more well represented here. Here's the interesting thing about this that's really racking my brain. I'm looking at this through a web browser. I didn't install anything. What do you guys think of that?
I think we do need to go on and cut it down for a minute. The stream's lagging out really bad.
Okay,
but
we'll do.
Probably that program.
Yeah, I'm just going to close this so we can get our bandwidth back, but we'll still talk about it. I'm going to go to regular Google Earth while we talk about this for just 2 seconds. Okay, so yeah, so how you enter this thing is, like I said, you can search for it. And new Google Earth, it's another one of Google's new products. They do all this stuff and they don't even sell it to us. That's the coolest stuff ever.
Why hasn't that been suggested to me though, too? Like I haven't seen
it. It's like brand new. Here's the weird thing, right? So a lot of conspiracy guys like us are saying that Google doesn't sell some of this stuff to us for a reason. And I know that's a pretty strange conspiracy, but you know, I don't know if there's weight in that one or not. We're going to look into that. What do you guys think? So if somebody, isn't it natural when somebody gives you something for free that you kind of don't trust it? Do you guys have that happen to you guys?
The Trojan horse thing, I really believe in that, because there's no such thing as a free lunch, as what they used to teach us in school. Somebody pays for it in the end. So if they're going to give you something free, I guarantee you there's a way they're either going to be tracking you or going to be watching what you're watching, or is going to keep a little bit of information to themselves.
What do you think, Bitter?
Absolutely, data collection. You know, they want to see what you're looking at. They want to see what you're thinking of. How many people are going to zoom in on Antarctica?
Well, what about this, right? Do you think that's bad or good? Could it be a good thing if they collect data on us, research us more to find out more trends so they can appeal to us more? Or is it an invasion of privacy?
Well, it could be the case that, you know, they want to know it, you know, test the waters to see if they can release some of this information, you know, because if they have enough people that are interested in, you know, zooming in on Antarctica, then maybe that's the next thing you'll hear on CNN. Or something.
Very true.
You know, I really like that point of view, Bitter. That's a really fair point, because, you know, data collection is a two-edged sword. They could be using the data for who knows what. However, if they are looking at what we're looking at, and they have enough people that are looking into these odder things or these anomalies or these strange things that a conspiracy theorists always yell about, then perhaps they would be a little more willing to give us a bit of a disclosure and drop information, and realize people won't just lose their minds if they hear something abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And I really think our issues with lag came. What I do is I download a lot of data on Google Earth up into the gigabytes before I stream, so it's already on my computer. And I'm sure if I start to maybe work that into the Google 3D that we saw, it might help us with lag. So don't worry. We're going to fix this for you guys, okay? This brings up a lot of questions. It brings up concerns, but I'm just going to tell you right now, right? You give me a program as cool as being able to look at the whole world in 3D, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use that.
Absolutely. You bet I am. At least if they don't tell us everything, they're going to tell us enough that we can discern a lot more information.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very true, man. Yeah, so I want to try to go somewhere. We are experiencing some lag, so how about we no, we're coming back in. All right, I got a little meter over here. I got a lag meter. It's pretty cool. It tells me about the lag. I want to look at a certain place. I want to see if Google Earth will take us here. So let's see if we fly anywhere.
I got to throw it back to the 90s real quick. Lag is frag.
That's right. You get fragged with lag.
It's a gamer's worst enemy.
Okay, so what we need to do, guys, we need to find out where Coral Castle is. If you haven't heard about Coral Castle, there's a lot of conspiracy. Actually, I'm just going to refresh. There's a lot of conspiracy behind Coral Castle. Coral Castle, there was a man who claimed, and this has been on Ancient Aliens, so Uni isn't saying that this is my own secret information. I'm just letting you know that this is a really awesome conspiracy. So this has been featured on a lot of the programs. Coral Castle, if you haven't heard about it, it will blow your mind. Straight away, no doubt, you get shook. But we all have heard about it, so let's not go there. Coral Castle is a guy who says he unlocked the secrets of how they built the pyramids. One man would work at night, and he didn't do it right here in the middle of the city. Actually, Coral Castle was moved here. But this man built doorways that could, you know, just out of stone. He built doorways that'll swing open when you push on them, okay? And also, he built these giant, I guess, you'd call them monoliths, I suppose. I don't know if monolith says it has to be ancient in the description. I'm saying it's not ancient. I'm just going to put that out there. But yeah, he built these monoliths out of these huge stones, and he did it for a woman who he loved. This is the story. And back in Germany, and he thought, if I build this, and you can see pictures right now, if I built this for her, she'll come over to America, to Florida, and love me. And it didn't work. He spent his whole life showing us that he could move blocks just like the Egyptians. One man could do it. And his love story didn't come true. But I will go ahead and go as far to say that he built something magnificent. What do you think about this, guys? Bitter, what do you think?
Yeah, at first, when you called it Coral, what is it, Castle?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize it, but now I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that guy, people still don't know how he did that stuff. We don't know how he made that.
Well, we've got Channel Unnameable in here. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. These are my good pals. I've been spamming Unnameable Media for a long time. They always repost some of my videos for me. I love them for it. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I love to see you here. It means a lot you're stopping by to support. But he makes a great point. So Channel Unnameable, and if you haven't checked out their Twitter, it's an excellent site. They post a lot of the stuff just like we talk about right here on The Rock. Just like all of us come in here, all the stuff we research. They have like a lot of followers, and they know a lot of good stuff. The stories, the things they select to put out on their Twitter for you to look at, they really do make you think, and they give you a good perspective every day. I urge everybody to follow this channel if you're into conspiracies. But I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, I found a book one time that had a very good explanation of how he cut the stones with a machine powered of an early type of battery that drove a motor that cut stone with copper and sand. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that freaking sounds awesome, because that is what they say, that they've come out with new theories that say that the Egyptians actually did things like this. They used sand in some way. I don't know how, but they used sand and copper and other things that they had at their disposal to cut the blocks for the pyramids and their other structures. You guys heard anything about this stuff? Physical or more logical reasons for how the pyramids were built? What do you guys got for me? Bitter, what do you think?
I have heard that, but I have my doubts. I'm not really sure if you're gonna, maybe with this guy, but something as big as the pyramids, I just don't know. With the amount of time they had to do it,
for sure.
I'm really doubtful on that. And even with this guy, that's one thing to cut it, but how he moved some of that stuff, only he knows.
What do you think there, Dark Wolf? You got anything for me?
Oh, yeah, Bubba, I got a whole lot for you. So I didn't get a chance to chime in on that last question. We ended up on the viewer's comment there. So you spoke
sorry, Bub.
Oh, not a problem. You spoke about the door. So the door is so balanced, so absolutely perfectly balanced that a 5-year-old child could open it with their pinky finger.
Wow.
That is how intricately put together this place is. It is absolutely amazing, in my opinion. You also spoke of his love. That comes from the Sweet 16. He used to talk about his Sweet 16. It happened when he was 16 years old, is when he fell in love with this lady. There's also, he would look at the sky and he would always say, I'm waiting for my Sweet 16. And if you look at his alignment, which is really intriguing, his alignment is 16 different constellations that are in a circle, if I'm not mistaken. It also is a reference. It's also a reference to a motor that he had put together, and it's got exactly 16. I cannot think of the word right now. Stators on it.
Okay.
And he used the idea is, and there's one theory, conspiracy theorist type theory, or one of the So he would take this motor supposedly and use it at night and produce this electric field. And the other idea is that they found these pools that was like a double pool. It had a lower level and upper level, and the lower level was smaller. And they thought maybe the ionization from water evaporating out of it all the ionized water would collect in the bottom. He would spread it across the top of the stone, hit the stator, and it would become light as air. That's one of the theories.
It's interesting. That's
It
very
is.
interesting theory. Yeah. Now, there is a little bit of conspiracy here. We've covered some of it, but I want to make sure I let you know there are some pictures, and they're taken of him. There wasn't many pictures taken of him doing this. Now, I will say that leads me down the road of logic. When someone doesn't let you come in and see what's going on, I heard that he had some help, not a lot, and they wouldn't ever talk about it. And a little bit of the pictures always showed a tripod. So like a bunch of, we'll say, logs that were stood up. You know, they came together at the top to form like a tripod. And there was always this strange looking black box. You know, I got this knowledge from Ancient Aliens. I will put that out there. Some people respect that show. Some people don't. And I just want to put a disclaimer on there because we are the kings of disclaimers here.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Dark Wolf, I'll go ahead and let you go here. What do you think about the black box? Have you heard anything about it?
Okay, so I've heard a mention of the black box. I don't know about that particular piece of evidence. I focused a whole lot on, the configurations and a lot of the oddities, but I haven't seen that.
Right.
I do want to make one more comment real quick. You were speaking about the sand thing. That makes a lot of sense. You need a large workforce to do this, but that's possible. If you're using sand against a cemented object already, because you use sand to make it. So if you've already got it into a cement form, the grit from the sand would build up enough friction to cut through something easily with the right catalyst, like the copper wire going across it. And it would form a glass-like, very, very, very smooth surface that could be fit together very easily. So building the pyramids with those type of objects, I could actually see that.
Gotcha. Bitter, you heard anything about the box or anything around that line of thinking?
I have not heard anything about the box. But with the pyramids, I don't doubt for a second that you couldn't do that. But with the time frame they're supposed to have done it in, I don't know that that's believable to me. It's
gotcha.
Those things are massive, and how many of them are there down there now? And I say now because with the Mandela thing going on around that.
We do have a lot of things that tie in. People tie a lot of different conspiracies into the Mandela effect anymore. I think that shows us it's trending more than ever, which is interesting because we've all been covering this for a while. And, when I first started on Mandela effect, I was always really harsh on examples. I always said, hey, let's not focus on examples. I know it's fun. Maybe, even if Unirock doesn't like posting examples as much ourselves, we still respect you for what you believe and what you think, so we won't ever hate on you. Don't worry. I do want to tell you, this black box. People looked for it. They wanted to find this thing, and it was like intriguing to them. And it could be though, and I want to make sure we always put out the other side of the coin. It could just be some type of pulley system, and he put a box around it. That's a theory. It's not my theory. It's just a theory. I do lend credence to this. I for sure do.
I would definitely lend credence to stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Whatever happened with Coral Castle, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the mystery behind it, since it has lasted, so long, you'd expect someone to come out by now and try to get some media attention for saying, I got the secret to the Coral Castle right here. The fact that hasn't happened tells more about this than we may be willing to admit it to ourselves when we think scientifically. So we're going to breach the barrier between topics with one of our favorite pastimes. Dark Wolf, you haven't done this in a day, buddy. Are you going through random Wikipedia withdrawal yet?
Oh, I'm very much going through the random withdrawal, man. You don't learn anything when you don't have something to randomize your ideas. And man, being down, I ain't learned anything. So teach me something. Let's find out what it's got to say.
I'm going to randomize your brain. Okay. So I'm going to hit this button until somebody in the comments says stop. We do have a little bit of a delay, so I probably will look pretty goofy for about 15 seconds. I've already started. I'm already seeing some good ones fly by, but hey, those things don't mean nothing until we get a stop in the comments. So Dark Wolf, what'd you get into yesterday, bub?
Well, I worked most of the day, and then when I came home last night, I relaxed and let my voice rest. I hung out in the live stream show you had last night. I still had to check out my buddies and see what was going on. Always support our channels, you know.
That's right, bub. Speaking of which, you know, everybody who on Unirock has a channel, so we do have mods that have been posting them. Thanks, guys. You guys rock. Literally, you're all part of the Unirock team when you help out around here. You're all rockers in my book. And we landed on Celebration, a Julian Lloyd Webber album. Anyone heard this album? I haven't.
No, I can't say I have.
It's not a plant, and it's not a politician, so.
Exactly. We usually get plants and politicians, two of the most boring things in the world. We got an album. Maybe we should listen to this later.
Right. It is orchestral, so it'd be a nice background listen.
Yeah, man. Let's send an email to Julian Lloyd Webber and see if they won't let me play one of her songs sometime. Well, you know what happens when we get one of these funky articles, Dark Wolf. What do you think I should do?
I think we should re-randomize the random wiki and see what we can come up with again.
So we always push the button one more time if we don't like what we got. We never liked the first one. We got G. Krishnayana, an Indian Administrative Service officer who was killed in Bihar by a mob led by a few other politicians killed the guy.
God. Politicians.
Whoa. Inter-politician violence. So we escalated from just reading about plants and politicians to reading about politicians killing each other. Most likely with plants, I would estimate, would be the only thing that makes sense.
Interesting.
A pineapple, that's a plant, even though it's a fruit. So at the time of death, he was serving as a magistrate. And in 2007, district court convicted 6 Bihari politicians for killing the guy. Yeah, man. Want to talk about a really bad way to go. If I was killed by a politician, I'd feel salty for all of eternity. What about you guys?
I'm coming back and haunting your ass.
That's right, man.
Isn't that like the devil himself killing you? Like, isn't that the ultimate irony? He can't do
That is
that.
the worst.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
At least it's not a
And it didn't take 1. It took 6.
Right.
He must have been a tough politician.
Well, it took, what, 90 for Julius Caesar?
Was it? I don't know. But yeah.
It took a whole lot. I know it's an insane amount.
Oh, Dark Wolf, have you heard about this crazy cave system in the Grand Canyons?
I've heard a little bit about a cave system. What do you got for me?
Okay, well, here's the first article. It's the best one. Bitter, what about you? You heard about this thing?
Oh, you're pulling up.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Grand
system.
Canyon.
And the Grand Canyons, turns out...
I've heard some things about giants down there. I've heard some things. Actually, I saw a video that showed a lot of military aircraft. They would fly down in helicopters. They would land in just some random spot right off the rim of the Grand Canyon, and they'd go right over a hill down to where they couldn't be seen anymore. And they continued to do that for a couple of weeks, according to the video that I was watching. So there's definitely something interesting going down there.
And you know, the Grand Canyon is just one of those features that everyone goes back to when you speak of the United States and these in the Grand Canyon. It's surrounded with mystery of just how it was formed, how it naturally formed. So when you start off with a mystery, you're bound to have more. What do you got, Dark Wolf?
All right, so what you got there is with, oh, okay, I think I have read about this one. The Egypt artifact. So apparently there was a hiker that was climbing down the side of a hill, and he had found a cave, and he went in searching and found a bunch of mummies and relics with old Egyptian writing on them, and just a bunch of random objects in there. So they called the Smithsonian. Of course, you know, that's what you would do, is call the authorities and let them know you found something cool, right? That's what I would do, right?
That's right.
That's the honest thing to do. So when they called the authorities and, you know, they come in and looked at it, they took all the evidence back to the institution that came and got them. I believe it was the Smithsonian.
That's right.
Yes, they took it back to the Smithsonian Institute, and when it was claimed, they called and made a claim on their stuff. They asked what happened to it. Smithsonian said, "I'm sorry, we don't know what you're talking about."
That's
And
right. That is right. Keep
in
going.
the very end, they have blocked off this area, so nobody can get to it. There's big
Yep.
iron gates over it, but
Off limits.
they claim there's absolutely nothing going on. Yes, off limits. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, if nothing's going on, then why is it off limits? Okay,
Yeah,
why is
and-
Disneyland off limits? No,
So, in the
off
area,
limits with their airspace.
that's so true. In the Grand Canyon, this man was sent by the Smithsonian to do an expedition because he brought back evidence of ancient artifacts. But the craziest thing was, a lot of people will say there was a lot of Egyptian style artifacts. But there was also reportedly Mayan, and what they said was it was a catalog of all the ancient civilizations from all over the world. DarkWolf, people are going to accuse us of taking our material from the Ancient Aliens show if we keep this up. I think this one was there too.
The Ancient Aliens guys just might have some good information. It doesn't matter where the information comes from as long as you credit your source and can verify it.
So true. And they weren't the first to report this. I'd actually heard about this before then. I mean, I had gotten most of my information probably from them. They do really good at pulling up stuff you haven't heard about from their conspiracies. But, I think we're a little more scientifically grounded than some of the people that appear on that show.
Audience, we want to show them all the evidence. We don't just want to nitpick away different pieces and show you what we want you to see or show you what biased road we're going to lead you down. We're going to show you all sides that we can find and allow you to use your own discernment to make your own decisions on what you believe is real and not.
Yeah, and I must say, I think we have much better hair.
Okay.
I mean, seriously though, guys, the style,
I'm going to get one of those wigs. I want to dress up like that guy for Halloween. That'd be a great
much better
costume.
swagger.
That's true. I can't get us over to the Grand Canyon in Google Earth.
He really needs a new suit. Now, isn't that interesting?
That would be interesting with the
so.
new 3D thing. Can we find some areas that are, look suspect?
Yeah.
Look like.
Yeah, we can. I'm going to go ahead and probably pull up that 3D Earth, though, just because of the lag issues later on. But we will jump over there at the end of the show. We'll look at all the spots we hit. We're going to play around with that thing for a little bit. Hopefully that lag spike had nothing to do with that program, but we'll see. I don't know why they're showing this lizard with a headdress on, but that's a pretty cute lizard. He's got style.
That's not something you want to meet in your dreams.
Oh, no, or in a back alley somewhere. Yeah.
Hey, that must be a hot day. They need shade
Don't
too,
drop
right?
the soap.
That's you're right there, buddy. So it says that Kincaid and Jordan, which they're insinuating are the two people that went on this expedition, returned with artifacts or pictures of the findings, leaving the Arizona Gazette article as the sole evidence, because we didn't mention it, but it was mentioned in the Arizona Gazette when he found this, and it did link them to the Smithsonian in the original article, and that's where the conspiracy comes from. But no data outside of the article substantiates the existence of Professor Jordan working for the Smithsonian. I added that little Smithsonian part in there because it's true. Only other reference comes in a March 12th article in the Arizona Gazette. The March 12th piece notes that Kincaid is in Yuma, Arizona. It mentions simply that he is an avid photographer who carries very high-end photography equipment. So this is a questionable tidbit, as no photos of Kincaid's discovery of the mummified bodies or the Buddha statue, which are two things they claim to find there, or let alone general photos of this portion of the expedition. But now, so the two sides, we always talk about the two sides of the conspiracy. You never want to just go with one. So one side of this conspiracy says that this man went into the Grand Canyon because he was just loved, he was in a boat or a canoe, and he loved riding up and down the river there and looking for caves because he had some type of evidence to lead him there. In the end, though, when he found the cave and went back to let them know, the government came in and said, Smithsonian, we take over your stuff all the time. So this is another one of those operations. They reportedly killed poor old researcher man because he was never seen from again. He disappeared.
He's probably in the cave.
Well, they probably it's almost like Indiana Jones. They locked his ass right up in there. Yeah, but so anyway, the other side of the conspiracy, though, states that you could back then, because of how information worked, newspapers got their information from phone calls and from reports, and then they had to verify it. So there were a lot of things reported initially, and that's a lot of people say that Roswell started that way also, but we went there last night, so we won't want to go back though. But the other part of the conspiracy says it was an early report, somebody maybe word of mouth before they sent a letter, and the letter that they got, they just put a finding out for. Personally, Uni's opinion, and then I'll ask you to, I honestly think they found something there because there are large parts of reserved space by the government in the Grand Canyon where they do not let people enter, and reportedly right around where this is referenced, you can't go. Okay, so Bitter, you got any last thoughts on this before we move on?
I'm gonna have to agree with you there. My gut tells me there's definitely something there, and why would they put something off limits if there wasn't? And with so many people speculating that there is, it would be incredibly easy for them to show you that there isn't if they wanted to. So,
Very true, man. How about you, Dark Wolf? Give me something. What do you got on this?
I'm 100% with Bitter this time. I got to say, there's got to be something going on here, because why would they have an armed guard that guards it? It said in that article right there. An armed guard that guards the place 24/7 with an M16. What are they trying to keep out?
Very good point, Dark Wolf.
Either way, like, what are they hiding?
The guy that probably trying to make sure the guy can't get out.
Exactly. We need to go let him out of there. I want to ask him some questions.
Yeah, probably the same thing's going to happen to you there. Those people that try and go to Antarctica, you're not going to get anywhere near it.
That's the next thing I was going to say. That's what makes this such a good conspiracy. Our Antarctica conspiracy, all these stories start because they don't allow us down there. And then you close off some space over in the Grand Canyon, you end up finding this old article in the paper. What else is any of us supposed to think? Well, here's another thing that ends up happening in the same line of thought, though. We get reports all over the place, and I want everyone to know that when we go into this one, we're going to look at it from both sides, because I have a very good information on both sides of the conspiracy here. But giants reported in ancient times would be, I guess, the tagline here. And I maybe want you to lead me in. I let Bitter go first last time. So Dark Wolf, give me something. Giants in ancient times. We've got ancient books to talk about them. We've got pictures of skeletal remains. And we actually have a cave in the Appalachian area. And it was reported by Native Americans. Bitter is one that mentioned this earlier. But, where they found the red-haired giant skeletal remains with a Native American legend to back it up. I'm just going general. Maybe you guys can get a little more specific. What do you think, Dark Wolf?
All right, so there are multiple tribes from the Midwest that spoke of the very large red-haired giants with double rows of teeth. That's also an interesting anomaly I've found across all the giant lore, or the giant evidence that I've explored in my time. They've all had weird anomalies like double rows of teeth and things like that. But this particular red-haired group was not very smart, in my opinion. You have certain giants that he speaks of in the Bible who ran things pretty much, it seems, at the time. But these seem to be a group that the Native Americans fought repeatedly for land and for resources, and they would defeat them easily. Like, they would overtake large groups of giants as if it were nothing, do these major epic battles. So I really believe there was a whole lot to those legends. You're talking about things that come from the Native American sources and myths that are hundreds of years old. And this is not something that is in common pop culture they've come up with, or any kind of newer information.
Very true, Dark Wolf. Bitter, what do you got? You have
I agree. I mean, there are so many mentions of them in ancient texts and depictions and things like that. I know a lot of the photos that have come out have been debunked, and it's probably not an accident that they were put out in the first place. But Yeah, that's really all I got to say. I'm
You know,
sure.
Well,
I personally think that there's something to that one as well. So
yeah, definitely. I've got some photographic evidence, some pictures of you know, some of the remains of the giants. Now, a lot of people question why. We know that a lot of these skeletal remains were found. We have some pieces of the skeletal remains in the Smithsonian. You know, one weird thing was, why do they put the giant skulls in the back rooms instead of putting them on display? That's always been one weird fact that's always bothered me. I've heard about people that go and talk to museums or other places that display this stuff. They go to ask, can I see this? I want to maybe look at it for a book. I want to look at it for a paper. Even college students who go in to ask, they don't go right up to the front of the museum or wherever they're visiting. It's always in a back room in an old dusty box. And they, instead of, you know, if they are going to keep them like that, they should probably give them a burial. But instead, they leave them back there. What, you know?
could we? I just had an idea I got to put out there. Could we? Are there any really good museums we might be able to request access to the back room? Possibly.
You
Maybe
know,
do a walk around. One of us.
Yeah, maybe film it, because I know that they don't like stop you from going back to look. A lot of people go and look.
Yeah, I mean, if you just ask, I'm sure we could maybe get something worked out.
And we have a network of a lot of channels in different parts of the world. You know, this would be good stuff. This would be good material to show people, because we get to investigate from our studios or our offices. But getting out in the field and actually doing a little bit of work would never hurt these topics, and would always, you know, we do stuff like that for UFOs, and we go on each other's channels and talk about all the other stuff. It's about time. We talked about this with the UFO topic. We found a lot of yearly UFO festivals or celebrations or gatherings. And we said, you know, we got to get some people. We need to notify the network, the NewTube network, the thing we're trying to do, which is to build a better NewTube with channel providers that want to use a next level style in production, research, truth, honesty, realness, just coming at you. Instead of being this big personality, they just come at you with who they are and what they do. And that's what we're trying to do. And since we have a network, why not get to work? That's something we're going to look into. A lot of these myths or legends and a lot of the evidence links together with some other strange things that have been found around the world. We've talked in the past and mentioned the crystal skulls. You know, I think this is a fascinating topic.
I love
See some of these.
I didn't know we were going to talk about that. That one
I
intrigues
surprised
me.
I dropped some stuff right.
I don't know much about it, but I've probably watched a lot of the same videos most of our viewers have. Yeah, that's a great one. Indiana Jones stuff right there. More Indiana Jones. Yes.
Yeah, they pull their material from the real world in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these crystal skulls are rumored to be able to. They're made. Some of them are made out of quartz. Some of them are made out of even more valuable material, which is really crazy to think about, because in order to work quartz in such large amounts, for one, it's hard to find it. And for two, it takes a lot of skill to make a sculpture like this out of stone.
Well, it's not just that. They're like the Egyptian faces and things like that, where they're just perfectly symmetrical to a point that we can't even duplicate it today. The real ones, because there are a lot of fakes.
True.
There's
a lot of remakes.
So.
You know, I got a question. I wonder, and this is just an oddity, this is just one of those random thoughts. I wonder, since our skulls Mandela effectively has been changed so much, if the crystal skulls have showed anomalies of change.
Well, you know, I guess that could be something to look into. I know that when they find these skulls, they record the dimensions of them.
Well,
I know
the recording would have changed along with everything else. You know, you would have to rely on memory with someone who's just intimate with that skull. You know, it sits on their counter all the time, and you would have to rely on them just saying, "Well, it looks different."
And yeah, that's the
problem. with
the
it.
problem with Mandela Effect when it comes to these things, you know, you could record it, then it's, oh, hey, the recording would change. Well, you know, and then, well, we have to go by memory. Well, memory is a flawed system.
Mhm.
It's fallible. And, you know, as much as I love the conspiracy theory, you know, coming up with evidence for it, aside from theories involving physical or physics, laws and theoretical physics reasons. But aside from coming up with things like that, I don't know how we could ever. Only because the topic is things changing in front of us, so it's really hard to verify. One thing that so it is an interesting topic, and I'm not going to dissuade us from talking about it. So let's bring it up. You know, how are we supposed to really verify whether or not the Mandela effect can be tested? So many channels nowadays, when they talk about the Mandela effect, talk about the examples. And what do you, I'd love to know what you two think. So I'm going to ask you this, and please just answer honestly. No judgment here. You don't have to feel like, hey, I want to follow the show and the topics on this. Don't feel like that. We want to know. You know, when it comes to Mandela effect, are examples really worth documenting every reported example? Is it worth documenting every reported change? Is it worth bringing that to everybody in a video? And if not, why? If so, why? Bitter, I'll let you head in first because I know you're more logical about some of this stuff. But then, like me too, when I talk about something like this, I tend to be theoretical. So either way you go, what's up?
Well, I think you know what I'm going to say there. I don't think it's worth documenting all of the changes. I think a lot of the channels out there that do are probably just clickbaiting. But I like to focus more on, you know, quantum mechanics, D-waves, CERN, what's causing this kind of stuff. Let's wrap our mind around the mechanics of this thing because, I mean, personally, I believe the effect is real. I mean, there are some of them which I have experienced myself. But, you know, do we need to waste our time creating videos, you know, about things, in my opinion, that are pretty insignificant? Or do we want to spend our time trying to understand it?
Yeah, and I will add in, I find that side of the coin very, very worth looking at. And I have been victim to myself falling down the thought process of, hey, you shouldn't make a video about that. But I'll never judge somebody. You know, I don't mind if they do. And
no, yeah,
I know you're not. I know you're not either.
But there, when you see those channels that just do it to that point, you know,
yeah,
that's just like, okay, man, let's
it's like let's
get past that. Yeah,
let's
step to the
move
other
over and let's look at something different for a while. I had to do that. You'll see I follow a progression in the research I did because I wanted to look. When I first started reporting it, I reported what it was because I had a lot of people asking me, I don't know what this is. So, you know, even when I had 100 subscribers, I still had a lot of people I knew. I'd say a third of them were at least people I knew, and they'd say, what's a Mandela effect? So I reported the first.
Well, yeah, you got to have some of those out there, okay? Because people are going to, it takes that first step.
Yeah.
You know, they got to see the examples and be like, oh, you know, crap.
That's what gets people. That's what gets people here.
Yeah, that's what gets people to see it. But at the same time, you need to throw out some theories, though. Also, you know.
Exactly.
Now, yeah, because I was going to say, hold on, I'll let you go, Darkwolf. Hold on, though. I want to respond to that. Oh, you know, we're good, man. This is some good stuff. Don't worry. We're breaking ground here, so I just want to make sure, Darkwolf, you're going to get to give your piece. I promise. I just want to make sure. So then, you know, when I started doing that, I moved in and I quickly went to theories, and I sprinkled in examples that I thought were significant. But I want to say, it's okay that other people have different significant theories. So maybe it's clickbait. Maybe the other channels are trying to say, look, if we give enough examples, we'll get more people over. Now, I'm going to say, I just saw a recent video, and I'm not putting anyone down. I don't even know who did this video. I'm not picking on anyone. But one of the recent videos was the Crest logo. So it said Crest, the toothpaste, C-R-E-S-T. Well, the C is red. So the title of the video was, in this reality, it said huge Mandela effect. And then it said, in this reality, or something to that effect, is the crest logo darker in this reality? And I was like, okay, well, I'm in freaking
that's
Marvel.
exactly what I'm talking about. You know,
Me too. So that's why I wanted to bring us there. I wanted to give a good reason why we were coming there. So DarkWolf, I haven't let you tell me, you know, the channels who bring up lots of examples, you know, good or bad, and why. Go ahead. Let me get all of it, because we didn't let you jump in right there. And I want your opinion on this. Go ahead, buddy.
I appreciate it, Dooney. All right, guys. So here's my thoughts on this. I am a huge researcher. Everybody knows, just like Uni and just like I'm sure Bitter is. So when I'm researching, I want to find real, solid, hardcore evidence, at least to the best of my ability. Something that I can have a whole lot of people around me, in the Mandela Effect, for instance. If I have just me saying, oh, my Red Bull, but say
that
my,
is a Red Bull. You got it, buddy. All right.
There you go.
One of our best sponsors, Red Bull.
Absolutely. So if I put out a video and say the green, it's a different color. You see it?
It's slightly darker. I remember that, man.
I'm looking for evidences that I can have a whole large group of people go, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. And we all know that feeling when we see or hear a real Mandela Effect. That feeling, like, what in the world did I just see? Holy crap! This can't be reality. So, when I'm looking for evidence in my theory series, I want real hardcore evidence, especially in the effects themselves, that I can point to. I'm just gonna ramble 1 second longer, and I'll let it up.
You're fine, buddy.
The one thing I decided when I made my channel is that I'm not going to vandalism videos. There was one of them that I found that personally affected me, and I made a video on that, and not everybody agreed on that, and that was okay. But I didn't want to do vandalism videos. There's hundreds of video makers out here doing, you name it. They've got 15, 20, 100. Moneybags has 143, and his is trustworthy. I really believe a lot of his stuff is trustworthy. I'll put that out there. There are other video makers, however, that are really, really, really trying to spoil up the data pool.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I'm trying to touch on there. Yeah.
Me too.
They're really making my data pool of information hard to discern through, and it's really making the waters really muddy. And this is causing a big issue, because people are going to look at all this disinformation. I believe that's what it is, purposeful disinformation, and they're going to go, oh, that's just too much. No, I'm sorry, this is crazy. Bye.
Definitely. Now, since we're in the topic, so we're going to talk. We talked about purposeful disinformation. We want to make sure we hit on the other kind of disinformation. So we have to kind of ask ourselves, and I want your opinion on this: is purposeful disinformation a part of that? Would it be someone who is working to muddy the waters? If they have the intent, I want to muddy the waters. I want so many stupid examples out there that it makes everyone scratch their heads and say, these guys are freaking Looney Tunes. Because I'm going to say this, and I used Looney Tunes on purpose, but I'm going to say this because my buddy, I bumped into one of my buddies today, and he kind of nudged me and said, oh, Mandela Effect, Mandela Effects. He was just kind of giving me shit because I did a lot of Mandela Effect videos. I don't think he clicked on them and really watched them, because he would have saw that I didn't even really list the actual effects. I was talking about different theories and such, but you know, he was just giving me shit. But here's the thing. He was giving me shit in the effect of, you're crazy for believing this. Now, I did kind of go into why. And, you know, that's the main thing he said was like, man, look at all these videos on here. You got like the top Mandela Effect videos that you search on YouTube. And I promise you, I've said this a billion gajillion times. You got people, the last one I saw was an extremely popular YouTuber bent over a chair with two other extremely popular YouTuber females whipping him with whips while he was talking about, I think he was talking about Mandela Effect. I got a little shook when I saw it and clicked off, so I don't know. But here's the deal. What I'm trying to ask you is, so we've got the purposeful disinformation, which in my opinion is the obvious. You're trying to specifically muddy the waters. So is someone who makes them to get clicks is that purposeful disinformation, or is that another, is that a different definition? So let's say I make 700 videos, and each of them are 20-minute talk on 1 or 2 Mandela effects that are extremely vague. Is that considered purposeful disinformation, or do you think that that should be called something different, like people who are clickbaiting or money grabbing? How do we discern between the two, or are they just the same thing? That's what I'm asking you. Bitter, what do you think?
Oh, I think we got a little bit of both, for sure. And you're going to have your people out there that are just doing it to get clicks, to get, extra money off their YouTube, more views, more likes, so on and so forth. And I looked up the Mandela Effect a lot before it got popular, really, really popular. And, there have got to be some paid trolls out there for that, just to muddy the water, because it was almost like flipping a switch. That's what YouTube did, which I personally saw. Flipped a switch from 1 month to the next. You got a certain set of results once, and then all of a sudden you get all the same. I don't really know what word to use, because I don't want to offend anybody, or anything, but certain types of channels, I'll just say, all of a sudden are at the very, very top. Like what you said about the whipping, that kind of genre of channel, maybe young new agey kind of thing that they usually try and use to do that, I think. And all of a sudden that just took over pretty much every result you're going to get. So, you can spend 30 minutes trying to get down the results to actually get something worth your time. So
yeah, and that's what it is, man. And you said it right. And I'm going to add this before I jump to you, Dark Wolf. I think that when we saw the explosion of the disinformation videos, it came from the strange parts of it, just so we got our viewers right with us. Strangest facts was, for one, it went trending again right at that time. So Google Trends spike, big spike. We're talking major spike, because Google Trends, we look at it all the time. It operates off percentages and spikes and dips. It's a graph, great information. We all need it, especially when we're doing this stuff, because it shows us not only who's looking at what, but it shows us bigger parts of the population are actually getting into this stuff. Now, same thing happened with the UFO topic. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say, also, it seemed like the same thing happened with the Illuminati topic. It's like a trend. When it hits the peak, it seems like one of two things could be happening, or both. Like you said, people are being paid or sponsored, or it could just be straight government. I guess the word would be government shills. I've heard people say or use. I'm not sure what exactly that is, but government, people saying, okay, it's time. They're all looking at this. It's time to make it really hard for them to get the good stuff. But you got the other side too. So, the question, Dark Wolf, I want to make sure we're always on topic here. We're talking about purposeful muddying, but we're specifically going into the difference between a money-making, accidental muddying of the waters, as opposed to maybe being paid by the government, and how that affects into what happened when the spike in trends happened. What do you think, Dark Wolf?
All right, so that's a great question. First, I'd like to address the purposeful one. I do believe there is a group out there that has been paid or is from the government and is trying to muddy our waters, absolutely, just to make it harder for us as a community and try to split us up. I really believe that. Get us arguing about little stuff. Now, that said, the trenders, I love that you brought up the trending thing, because I was headed there myself. You and I are always on that wavelength, brother. It's awesome. So the trenders, so I believe there's a couple things going on here. We have people like the particular channel you mentioned, who is just hitting it as another topic, and he's making it look, this particular one's making it look really, really bad, in my opinion. That's one YouTuber. However, you've got a lot of the teenagers and the younger crowd who are getting into this as a trendy thing. And I believe those are doing it from an honest point of view. They're just saying, hey, look at this. Those are the ones that are going to help the new people coming in. I believe the trending is just going to be the fact that, these are your beginner videos. These are the kids talking about it. These are the ones saying, hey, have you seen this? Look at this. They're not making fun of it. They're not saying they believe it. They're just saying, look at it. And I think that's a good part. Now, you've also got the other side of that coin that are clickbaiting. And I believe that is just, again, people trying to make money off YouTube and go against what the things this network is set up to do, and just try to use people's, hey, look at this, new Mandela effect. And I just want to touch on those words right there too. Everybody, and I threw it in my video because it really was at the time. However, if it's a new Mandela effect for you, there's one YouTuber, and I'm not going to throw the name out there, but he puts a lot of videos out every day. And as much as I don't agree with pretty much any of his YouTube videos, Mandela effect videos, he does say a possible new. That's what he said, a possible. And at least he's throwing that much out there. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it's a possibility. Now, I believe this particular one sees everything in his world as a Mandela effect. So, again, my opinion. But I believe, back to the topic, and I apologize for ranting, back to the topic, I do believe that it's a mix of the intentional, the ones that are the young trenders that are literally actually going to help us out in the end, and then you've got the ones that are just trending it to get jokes and laughs and make fun of us. So it's a whole bunch of stuff going into it, I think.
Definitely, Dark Wolf. Good information there, man. Great. Now, yeah, I want to make sure, though, that we put out a disclaimer. We don't want any YouTubers angry with us. We're just talking our opinion. We see this all the time. So you have to, if you are making a channel, it's following guidelines based on some of the opinions we have. I don't want you to get offended. I want you to understand that this is just a topic that we hold dear to us, and we're trying to really figure out. And we do this here with every topic, so we're not specifically targeting anything. And now that we got that out of the way, I will say that a Mandela effect has to follow, and we've said this a billion times. It's always great to put it out there.
I love this.
You know, it's called a false memory. Even up from one person up to a whole bunch, it is called a false memory. So that's the psychological, I guess, term for it. But what people have said is a standard. And this is just more like a community standard, and everyone has hit this. It's not just us. When you have a significant amount of people who are stating that they believe this also, that's when we've said in the past, this is a Mandela effect. So now, this is the hard part with Mandela effect. For one, it's ambiguous from the beginning. And for two, it's ambiguous with figuring out if it is one or if it's not. You never know if your data is correct. Half the time, you're gathering data from comments somewhere, which in all reality, even polls that are put out by scientific agencies have such a large percentage of error that they don't even really use them for anything completely scientific. They just use it for a jumping point or a starting ground or just a little extra spice on a topic. Unfortunately, when it comes to Mandela effect, those types of methods are what we use to determine what one is and what one isn't. So in all reality, I will put a definite thought into the pool that we don't know either way. So
I'd like to add that, they're not most likely, but it's highly probable that there's going to be Mandela effects that occur that only you're going to notice, like personal ones in your life, that no one else is going to notice. So, I mean, it doesn't make those any less real, but, I feel like for the big picture, it's kind of unnecessary to mention them unless, I don't know. I guess that's just kind of what I'm thinking there with that.
Unless you know people backing you and agreeing that, hey, yeah, I agree. This ain't right. This is not how I remember. And you get a large enough group, or even, locally around you, you get a large enough group. You can pretty much say, yeah, I can go forward with this. I believe this is a Mandela effect, or great possibility for it. But if you're just looking around going, this looks greener, this looks redder, the letters, they've changed the font. Come on, man. You're really drawing straws sometimes.
Yeah. And you're just adding a whole bunch of more results in there that makes it a lot harder for people to do real, research into this kind of thing. So,
right. And exactly. Maybe we should talk about that for a minute. Okay. Now I know how you both feel, but what do you think about people that say, that Mandela Effect research is completely useless because of the fact that it comes from human memory. Very short answer, but what would you say to someone who would say that to you? Go ahead. Oh, gotcha. Okay, we got bitters. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jerry. What do you think?
All right, good answer, Bitter. That's an interesting way to put it. So, can you repeat
I
the
feel the
question?
same way, though. What do you say to someone that tells you that Mandela Effect is completely worthless thing to research? Because I've heard it before. Nah, Jerry's cutting out, I think, guys.
I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay, good. What do you think, buddy?
All right, now, can you repeat the question one more time? I apologize.
No, you're perfectly fine. Connection issues come during live shows and only live shows. So I think our audience completely understands. What do you say to someone politely? They say to you, they're not being mean, but they say, hey, it's not worth researching. What do you say?
Okay, I love this question. So I agree that if you're just doing a very, very general research, no, you're going to find a whole lot of mixed up information. However, there are a lot of YouTubers out there, and I am going to name drop a little bit here. There are a lot, and Dr. Lupo is a place you're going to find a lot of good information. There are a lot of YouTubers like Moneybags who are doing the voting video series. So they're saying, look, here's what I found. I verified this myself. Now, let me do a voting video. If I have a large group that hit like opposed to a small group that don't, that's pretty verifiable evidence. Then you have your data pool. So if you have YouTubers doing these voting videos, and I'm a big fan of these, and you go looking through the data and you see, well, nobody agreed with that, nobody agreed with that, nobody agreed with that, that's probably not. So I believe there is a data pool we can pull from, and if you get large groups of people, I mentioned that to answer your question, I promise I'm going somewhere. If you have a large group of people who are all remembering this one single fact different, whether it's a bear thing or if it's a Jedi thing, or no matter what the case may be, if you've got that large a group remembering it different, you can't have everybody share a false memory, especially a detailed false memory.
Very true, Dark Wolf. I'm with you there. And it's a good information to put out, a good thing to talk about. Definitely worth looking at. I'm closing Google Earth 3D. We were going to go in and do our random Google Earth spiel, but it looks like it's causing some connection issues. That's okay.
So we've got a couple segments we could do, though,
Oh, no, I'm already prepared, We're going to go ahead and hit that random Wikipedia article again. If anybody, which we've got significant viewers right now, if anybody wants to hit stop, I waited to say it this time. I waited to talk about it before I started rolling the dice. So maybe we'll get a stop a lot sooner, But it's a good thing because we need our connection to come back. So it's good for me to click this. I will say, you may not see all of the articles changing, but I'm clicking pretty fast. It takes a second for it to pipe through the system, and there's probably a lot more. Oh, Salted Cedar Goddess. Oh, this is good. Oh, dude, it's a plant-derived injectable gel. We've been hitting
I've got about this.
Yeah, we've hit topics of plants constantly.
All I heard was injectable gel. What?
It's called Veta gel. So I think it's Veta, like maybe
vegetable gel.
Vegetable.
It's not made out of cucumbers, is it?
Well, maybe because it's got gel in it too. But it says it's a veterinary product derived from a plant, and it's injectable. It's claimed to quickly stop traumatic bleeding on external and internal wounds in animals, and lots of veterinarians keep it in stock for emergencies. It uses a plant-based hemophilic polymer made from blah, 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 that seals wounds. How cool is that?
What is the deal, guys? I mean, plants and politicians. I mean, it was funny at first, plants and politicians, but...
Right? Because I'm telling you.
Because most politicians
So let me go ahead and... Maybe, but let me go ahead and...
I'm kidding. No. I'm kidding.
Yeah, let me explain. So, plants have come up many times when we do our random Wikipedia articles, and politicians. I mean, it's pretty easy to hear us talking about it. But the thing is, when I click the random article, I'm seeing random articles for every click. And I'm pretty sure, though, that you guys are only seeing maybe like 1 to 5, because I've gone back and watched it. And I've seen that there's definitely, I see more articles than you guys do. So we're hitting every topic available on Wikipedia. There's a lot more topics than just plants and politicians on Wikipedia. And when we stop, we typically hit those two. Now, what I'm going to say is, we've talked about coincidence and the science of it. I think that something is being conveyed through this. I'm not that much on like the mysticism and the, crystal balls and stuff, but I will say it's interesting. We might be slipping into the twilight zone, but it's interesting. But Jerry, Bitter, what do we do when we get a really shitty article on Wikipedia?
What do we do, Bitter?
Next.
That said it. I can't read this one. I can. It's Oberspach. It's a location in Germany, in the state of Bavaria, which I don't think I've read about. We don't have any textual information. So we want to remember that we clicked here, but I'm going to go one more because we got to be able to.
Let's do one more because
we got to be able to read something about it. All right. Amanya Hyder, born 51, is a Turkin painter. That's a cool one. I'd rather have a painter than a politician.
He was a politician later on in life, then. Probably.
Well, I hope not, because I would just go ahead and stop the stream if we got another politician.
Let's just not do any more wiki things.
But anyway, her works focus, and she was very well noted for her originality and her focus on nature and painting plants.
Plants?
I'm not lying.
Oh, dude.
I'm not lying. I quit.
Get out of here, man. What is...
Dude, if you think
what
I'm lying,
what are we missing here? No, I don't.
Lying, I know you don't, but I'm saying if viewers do, you can read. Look at that. She paints trees and bushes. She paints
she
trees
probably
and
planted them
bushes.
and then painted them.
I don't know what's going on.
What,
guys?
Is going on,
we've
dude?
hit something crazy in this.
And she's the daughter of a politician. Keep reading. Watch. Something.
Okay.
Watch.
She became a member of a painters union and then became a politician years later. I'm just playing. I'm joking.
I can't actually read that on my screen, so don't fucking do that.
I'm sorry. I play too much on this. I'm trying to calm down. Okay. Well, anyway. It's about that time in the stream when you start getting super silly that you got to round it out. So the one thing we do at the very end, and I'll let you guys talk for a second. I'm going to pull up the today on in history on Wikipedia. So
this is a great segment. Guys, I appreciate everybody who's joined us tonight and who always joins us. Our Rockinats are awesome. We really, really do appreciate everybody coming by on Uni's stream and on DarkWolf'S Den. This show will be placed on DarkWolf'S Den after it is done. Anybody who wants to show your friends, show your family, you want to rewatch it, we said something interesting, we showed you something, you want to show somebody else, definitely come check it back out on DarkWolf'S Den. If you
it'll also be up on Bitter's channel also. We have to be fair around the board, but go ahead, buddy. No problem.
Right. Actually, I was just going to give Bitter a chance to announce it himself, but there you go.
I'm sorry. I just thought I'd go ahead so you could keep going. You do good about rounding out the end, so I thought I'd let you go on there.
Appreciate it.
Bitter. Well, I'll let Bitter say his piece at the end too. This is one of my favorite parts of the day. I don't even look at this until we get into the stream, so that it'll be surprising because we see some crazy stuff in here. We always go for the first one. Bitter, did you say you could see it on my screen? Why don't you? Can you read that?
I can see it, but I can't really read it because I got it on split screen, So.
Well, no, you're fine, bro. Okay, in 215 BC, a temple is built on the Capitoline Hill dedicated to Venus Erycina to commemorate the Roman defeat at Lake Trasimene. I've heard of this. I don't know any facts on it. Do you guys? I don't know.
Not this particular. You bet.
Yeah, I don't
the
think.
Bitter end. Yeah, oh God, I hate it when the end comes up, guys. I really do enjoy these streams.
I'm telling you. We have fun, man. Well, don't worry. We stream a lot. Now, I'm only ending this one a little earlier so I can put some videos up, but we'll do our best. Tomorrow's Sunday, so we might get to stream extra tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I'm off all day Sunday. Y'all want a long show? We can do a long show.
Well, we'll go over the topics, and we'll get them together, and we'll be on air. So 7-Eleven, Dagobert III is crowned King of the Franks. Never heard of him, but hey, if he was a king for a while, you know he had some fun.
Politicians, too.
Yeah. 1655, the siege of Santo Domingo begins during the Anglo-Spanish War, and it fails.
No, I remember hearing about this one.
Yeah. It's a failed siege. I don't know where Santo Domingo is, but we can look. Oh, my goodness, guys. This is a big one. It's in Spain. 1,300 Lancers. We'll just go ahead and say the strength was about 2,400 soldiers on one side, where there was 30 lost. 13,000 on the other, where there was 600 lost. So what it looks like is this very small force held the siege against the larger invading force and killed almost I want to say, what is that, 2,000 times? No, that's not 2,000. 220 times, 20 times more. For every one of the ones that died on the one side, they killed 20 on the other. That's a very interesting. That's right. Those are the guys you want on your side.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? All right. 1920, we're jumping ahead. The Grand National Assembly of Turkey is founded in Ankara. The assembly denounces the government of Sultan Mehmed VI and announces the preparation of a temporary constitution in Turkey. The Grand National Assembly.
I always like mentioning the Germans, and they're, I believe, 1942. It's really pixelated for me. It says something about World War II in German.
We're getting there. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
1942, World War II, the Baedeker Blitz. German bombers hit Exeter, Bath, and York, not New York, York, sorry, in retaliation.
Say, wait a minute, is that another Mandela? Whoa.
Well, there is a Bath, New York, a town called Bath in New York. The VA has a Veterans Administration there. I think I was just used to hearing it. So, they actually, I'm going to go ahead and say this. In Bath, they have a treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder, and a lot of Iraq veterans go there to get treated, and they do really good things. If you know someone with post-traumatic stress disorder and they were in the military, they can go to any VA administration around the United States, or probably in the countries that you guys are watching from too. They take care of their soldiers in most other countries like this too. But in the States, you can go to Bath, New York, and they can get treated, and it makes a world of difference. Now, here's another one in 45. Turns out World War II, Adolf designated successor Hermann Göring, and he sends him a telegram asking permission to take leadership of the Third Reich, which causes Hitler to replace him. I wonder how Hitler replaces somebody.
I think we all know.
And probably not in a fun way.
Right. I imagine he probably just sent him to camp. Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, but no, you're probably right. That's where I was going. Hitler was not very nice about replacing people. In fact, there were a lot of reports after the war about practices that he had. I'm not even going to bring them up, but you never know the extent of those types of things. But from the reports of the people that were there, it was brutal. We'll go that far. And we always, when we mention anything along these lines, we always say, think about the people on the other side of the line there, because
they're people just like you and
they
me,
are,
and they're just stuck in
they're stuck in the fight. Everyone wants to do their place, and we know firsthand, we've talked about it here sometimes, you have to respect every person regardless of where they're from. That's the worst part of the worst part of any fight. There's always two good people on each side.
In their eyes, they're protecting their well-being. They're thinking the same thing you are.
That's right. They really are. That's a
So,
good way to put it. They probably feel, both sides probably feel the exact same
threatened.
way.
Absolutely.
In 67, the Soviet space program, a manned space flight carrying cosmonaut Colonel Vladimir Komarov is launched into orbit. Uh-oh. I think we showed a picture of him when he was launched into orbit, Jerry. Remember that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. He was the one who turned his head and saluted.
Yeah. Oh, was he?
Oh, yeah. It's excellent video. We showed it on the show. So a man goes into space with a suit with a metal band holding his helmet on. And when he's out doing his flight, his whole helmet turns and he salutes, which has spawned so many conspiracy theories. I don't have time to list them all. The major one is
right out of a sci-fi movie, dude.
It really does. It's scary almost because they broadcasted and filmed this because it was the first manned spacewalk. But the important thing is, so many people have gone back and analyzed that video. For one, he couldn't have turned his head. He couldn't have turned the helmet with his head. It's not possible. In the beginning of the film, it shows him inside the suit turning his head like this, and it shows that he can't because there's a metal band holding it in place. And for two, with further investigation, people have found that the Earth was moving at a different frame rate in the background than the spacewalk, the astronaut, and the ship in the foreground, which suggested video manipulation. That's all we're going to say. We don't know either way. We have nothing is confirmed. Strange, huh?
That is strange. As first I've heard that bit of evidence right there. Maybe off later, you and I can do some extra research and see what we can find on that and bring it back to our viewers.
I would love to, because I'd love to just solve that one. I'd love to you know what I'd love? I'd love to scientifically be able to show that he could turn that helmet, but because it would just solve the damn thing. And if he couldn't turn it, I'd love to solve what happened, how they did it, why, and have him say it and apologize. Bitter, you haven't heard of this. What are you thinking right now when you hear us say this?
I don't know.
Are you shook?
I mean, I'm shook.
You're
shook. I'm gonna have to check.
We shook him.
I've been shook, guys.
We got someone shook. We did it. That's our goal on this show, is to shake one person every night. That way they'll think about it the rest of the day. Bitter got shook. Well, we're running. We've only got a couple minutes left, and I want to get to the outro. The last one, I'm going to read it fast. 2013, 28. I'm going to skip it. It's not fun. And, we've talked about a lot of bad stuff. We really usually talk about a lot of fun stuff. We did, though. We did. It's just that, when you go back in history, and I've said this last time, you focus on the bad things to learn your lesson. So when something comes up in the history of the day that just might not seem like it's positive, it really is, because it means the majority of us smart people, and every single person that's watching, and all of us, we're all like-minded. So yeah, every smart person learns their lesson from those things and makes sure that they don't happen again. And by looking at it, we can go back and make sure that we stand against it the next time. So it's the end of the show. I always do this. I'm always going to give you guys a chance to talk, but I'm going to make sure to plug your channel for you. We've got Dark Wolf over there. He's at DarkWolf'S Den. He's on my sidebar. He's got the Mandela Effect Theory series, and you can click. And if you haven't seen it, it's a lot of fresh, new ideas, and also a compilation of other theories in the community and his opinion. And the general opinion all rolled into one. It's awesome. And we got Bitter. He's on my sidebar also, the Bitter Truth. There'll be a little television as his picture. And he looks up to the moon with telescopes. He records for hours at a time. Now, my channel and Jerry's, we do a lot of work too. But I'm telling you, Bitter probably takes the cake, because he goes back and looks through hours of footage, and he finds anomalies that I've never seen anywhere else. So now I've told you both how to find them. If you want to get in touch with them, all you do is go to their About section. That's the beautiful thing about about YouTube. You can go there to find their social media and their emails and get in touch with them yourself. So first off, oh, and if you want to get a hold of me, it's in my About tab. I'm going to go ahead and let Jerry say goodbye and tell you maybe what you'll find on his channel. Really quick though, Jerry, we're almost out of time. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, Rockinauts, you will find the Met series on my channel. You'll find the re-upload of these streams, the permanent upload of these streams on my channel. Remember, if you like a YouTuber's content, like them, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. It's that the YouTube rates us. It's that lets people know that we're doing good. So if you like their work, definitely do that. We appreciate the Rockinauts hanging out with us anytime, whether you're right here live or if you're watching this afterwards. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. I appreciate everybody coming by the Rockinati. Bitter, go ahead.
I want to first say thank you very much, Unirock, for letting me on the show. I had a great time. I do every single time I come on here. I'm going to keep it real short because I know we're running out of time. He's pretty much already filled you in on how to, get a hold of us and check out our channels. And we'll see you on the flip side. Peace. Picante sauce.
Yes, right, buddy. Thank you. I do love having both of you on. I love our live streams too. We get to talk about all the stuff that we read about, found, and saw during the day. So if you're ever wondering, why do those guys bring up these crazy topics? Well, for one, this is what we do. We look at this stuff. We find the mysteries. We try to give a good explanation for them if we can't outright solve them. And but the most important part, we bring it to you and let you make up your own mind. Do you hear us say something you don't agree with? That's great. Send me an email. Tell me what you think. Do you hear us say something that's not correct? Correct us. We'll talk about it in a future show. We love when that happens. We love getting corrected. That's right. I also want to make sure, I did it in the beginning, but I got to do it now. My Patreon people, I'm going to keep mentioning you. So go ahead and stop by if you haven't and just take a look. We're going to update that soon. It's been the same for a while. Our team over at Unirock is stretched between the YouTube channel, the Patreon page, the servers, the hardware, and the social media, and video production also. So we never ignore comments and we never ignore emails. And tonight is today we didn't get to a lot of streaming during the day because we were doing video production, and I just want to make sure to end that out that way too. So subs, if you think that you want to see something else, well, it's already done, and I will be uploading it very shortly, maybe within a couple hours. It takes a while to get it up there. I'm not lying to you. The process could even take, I've had a video take almost 7 hours before to render and then upload because it was almost 4 gigabytes. So we use 4K video and 1080p at the very least. Also, never forget to look at the guys who are on the show. They love coming back, but they need your likes, they need your shares, and they need your subscriptions, because that's what keeps their channels going and growing. Also, the same with Unirock. And the last thing I always say, when you comment, it's another person on the other side. So always be nice, but you never have to be afraid to speak your mind. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming by.
Rock out.